Hello there, Outliers. Nyaman Shang here, and we are coming at you live with an Outliers Edge roundtable. We have two incredible outliers here today, and I cannot wait for you to get to know them and see how they play, how they continue to grow themselves and beyond. So, without further ado, let's jump into this here. Let's. What I want to do is make sure everyone gets a chance to get to know each of you here. So, Dr. Axel, we'll start off with you. Would you mind letting people know more about you and the game that you're currently playing?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me first and foremost. So, yeah, I'm Axel Meierhoefer. I'm in the San Diego area, but I also have an international business. What game are we playing? I'm following my mantra of helping others help themselves become successful by showing them and helping them how to invest in residential real estate and build a passive income portfolio so that they ultimately get to the point to decide, do I want to continue to exchange my time for money, or do I follow potentially my passion because my needs financially are met through my investments? So that's what I do. And I do it like by making content available on social media, podcasts like this one, and my own show. And I hope to reach as many people as possible who want to follow on that path to get to time freedom.
Oh, I love this shit. Like for any outlier, just so we don't miss it here, can you let us know what is the name of your show so that they can go and start listening as well?
Yeah, the podcast is called The Ideal Investor Show, and you've been on it, so you know it.
Yes, 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 yes. All right. Well, it's really, really good to have things come on here. Thank you so much, y'all, for being in the space. Gabriel, let's go ahead to you now, and let's bring in some more from there.
Okay, thank you for having me on, and it's kind of fun to play here. Um, my name is Gabriel Cousens. I'm a holistic physician and what we call a Kabbalistic shaman that will help tweak your mind a little bit. I've taught in over 127 different countries, um, in all the continents around the world. I have not been to Iceland, however, but that may happen. So, in my goal here for myself is to be fully alive in whatever I'm doing. It's broad. So that allows me to go into life as an adventure and live that way. And I'm a, a live food vegan. What does that mean? The vegan food is no meat, fish, chicken, or dairy. Um, and live means you don't cook it, you know. And I do about, well, close to 90% live and 100% vegan. So I've been living that way for, about 40 years. And what I enjoy doing is being alive. And that means exercising. I do my 1,800 push ups every few days and sit ups and do a variety of things. And my wife and I, who've been married for 26 years, do a lot. We do a lot of walking together, a lot of hiking and walking. So, and I live in northern Israel, and you, if you hear buzzers going off, we are tending to get a few missiles coming our way, and that's the way it is. We don't give it too much attention because I know the outcome is very good in the prophetic way because I live a more prophetic life. So um, that's what I do. I just have a good time. Basically, I enjoy being in love.
Mm, mm.
Really enjoy being in love with my wife. So
Oh,
that's it.
one of the things I get about you, Gabriel, is the degree of presence that you bring. Like I feel like you're like I'm here, like I'm in this now, and I'm allowing space to enjoy what's like around and present right now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's the whole
man.
point. We have be here now, but I'm be here past, present, future now.
Mm,
If you
mm,
get what
mm,
I'm
mm, mm.
saying. It's like
So
all the dimensions happening at once.
so let's play this out here a bit. There's firstly, I'm just really glad that like the three of us get to be in space here together and to share our places. The the first question that was coming up for me is what I get about both of you is that you are strong in your convictions. Like you both stand for something, and you've created platforms, you've traveled, you've done a lot of different work to be able to bring that out to life. And I wanted to start for any outlier that's listening here who might have an idea of how the world could be, or have a way, an idea of how they can go and like increase their impact in the world, and ask you this question: what was the thing that got you like off the sideline, and into the actual arena, into the actual game, that made you say like, hey, this is for me to go build a platform over, or to go and really show up in the world to promote and let people know about this. So what was that thing that brought you really off the sideline and into the arena? Either one of you want to start us off?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say it starts out with asking yourself, what are you really passionate about, right? And if you say, I'm passionate about it, then the next thing pretty obviously is, okay, how can I turn this energy, this passion into something? So like a little example, I was really passionate about flying planes, even though I had never done it before. I just knew and felt that I wanted to do it. Got out of school, applied to go to an airline, and the airline said, oh, too bad, economic circumstances don't allow us to hire any new people right now, even if you were qualified. Okay, I could have said, well, then I have to do something else. Ultimately, you see this in my background. I decided, okay, well, then I joined the Air Force. They have planes too that I can fly. Right? And then after that career, I had the feeling that I wanted to see how a business is built. So I found a startup that was willing to hire me. And later I realized, well, the way they're doing it is not quite how I would do it. But if I think I know it better, then I have to do it better, and started my own business, right? So if you feel these kind of passions or these kind of draws, or I guess Gabriel has probably better words on what to call that, then the question is, okay, are you just let it pass by, or do you actually jump on it and put the energy in it and find a way to make it happen? And I don't regret any of it, because, to some extent, I can say most of the time in my life, I didn't really have to work because I lived my passion.
Nice.
Go ahead, Gabriel, please.
So for me, I live my passion, but my passion is being aligned with the divine will. What does that mean? Well, when I was 4 years old, I wanted to be a doctor, and I didn't know what a doctor was. There were no doctors in my family, but I found that passion and became a medical doctor. And I thought, well, that's just okay, but holistic is a lot more fun, a lot more accurate, and began to move in that direction. And then once that was kind of a, I don't want to say achieved, because you never achieve, you're never there. But then that moved into a more psychiatry, and then a more shamanistic psychiatry and family therapy, and then a more shamanistic way of looking at what goes on for people, which included all those other things. So it just kept evolving into kind of a multi-dimensional approach. And that's how that's worked for me. But in the meantime, there's another urge to work with community. So I grew up in Chicago, and I was working with black gangs on the south side of Chicago. And no one was killed for the years I was working with them. And I'll make a point there, because the day I left, 8 people were killed, because the gangs fight with each other. But what was going on that was different? Because I talked to people, besides playing basketball and playing Malcolm X to them and so forth like that. And it was meaningful. Most of the gang members, that's 18 to 22 kind of thing, never saw that they would live past 22. They were not in survival. They were in the state of, well, I don't care, because I'm not going to live that long. It doesn't matter what I do. Okay. Very interesting insight. And I've seen that in a variety of settings. So that taught me a lot. And that's a little bit about that work. And I've worked around the world, we've worked with Native Americans. I'm also, as they say, a sun dancer, an eagle dancer. I get into whatever I'm doing. That's what makes it fun. I'm not on the outside of it. So that in its whole thing, 11-year, what we call ghost dancer, 4-year sun dancer, eagle dancer. And then at the same time, I'm working with communities all over the planet, helping get, let's say, holistic health. But then you leave it open. So I work with at least 5 countries in West Africa. Okay. So I go there about curing diabetes naturally, which is one of my little subspecialties. And what's needed is we got to start growing organic vegetables. So people start creating farms and we get funding for them. And, next thing, that's what we're doing, getting funding for organic farms.
I like, as you're sharing this, like, I'm feeling that like it feels like a little different thing here. Like Dr. Axel, you talked about like you're following passion, right? Like Gabriel, what would you say is the thing that you keep following? Because I'm hearing like thinking a lot. Say it again.
Destiny.
Oh wow, I love that. Yes. Okay, tell me more.
And my work is tuning into it and then going with it. Okay. So I have a no holds bar on that. I mean, we had created the Tree of Life Rejuvenation Center and on the border in Arizona, on the border with Mexico. We had that for 25 years, and then now we're here in Israel doing work, but I'm also working in Africa. But I'm taken there.
Yeah,
I don't look like I have I don't want to say I don't have a choice. I'm obviously choosing to follow my destiny.
Yeah. I really appreciate this here, and as the conversation comes up, like if either of you say something and it's either a question you have or there's something you want to bring into the mix, like let's keep this conversation open, because it's not often that someone talks about destiny. I'm just like, ooh, there's a lot of space that just got created in there, right? And Outliers, I'm gonna invite you right now to see like Gabriel just brought in, like, I'm choosing to like follow the destiny. Dr. Axel, when you were talking, you're like, I want to fly, and one of the things that I love was he's like, well, there's more than one way to go and do this. Like, I'll just join the Air Force, like there's another path here. And so Outliers, like as we're coming in, we have both of our guests here today have already demonstrated how what it looks like to continue to follow the path that you're meant to be on, and to allow that path to continue to allow yourself to actually do it. I guess I'm curious for both of your perspectives here. I'm thinking about this from like the friction of any outlier right now. And like when I say this here, I'm not actually just talking about like the beginning of the game, like, oh, okay, how did you get into it? But I'm talking about like I'll speak for myself. Whenever I feel like I'm ready for like a new level, or there's a higher vision, a stronger passion, or like I talk about being called, like my soul is calling me to go and do stuff here. I find that like there's an inner knowing that like this is possible, but then there's this other friction that shows up that like actually stops me from doing it. Maybe it's I needed to go do more research, or I kind of delay, right, rather than actually going through. And I'm really curious for you all, because I see that you keep up leveling your games. Like, how do you all both identify like when you're running into that kind of friction, and what has been your go-to way to navigate around it?
Dr. Axel, you go first.
Okay, well, I would say there's a couple of things, and the different images you can use to illustrate it. One guy that I'm pretty fond of in the leadership development community uses the analogy of life is happening and like a play on a stage, like in a theater. And to look at your question would be, for me at least, to say, when do I find the opportunity or recognize that it's time to go up to the balcony and look at what's going on the stage, without saying I'm removing myself from the play, but I want to try to get the perspective of how does the play look like from the balcony. rather than being on the ground in the play in the moment. And what I found in that context is oftentimes that what you call friction, Niam, it's not really friction. It's some combination of either excuses or there's another thing that Gabriel probably knows very well that I call analysis paralysis, right? Where you basically feel that you have to satisfy some kind of arbitrary amount of research or amount of information or whatever amount of before you can take the next action. So what has helped me going to the balcony is to basically develop a habit to say, how much stronger can the urge of discovery and inquiry actually get, so that I feel basically internally that I want to go and really experience it. I don't want to just read about it. I don't want to put it in AI. I don't want to just get a book. I don't want to have, like another spreadsheet. I want to experience something. Right. And that is sometimes easier to imagine when you're at the balcony rather than when you're on the stage.
Nice. I think the idea of experiencing, I tend to be a little bit wilder. I just jump in if I think it's what I'm doing. I'm a National Football Hall of Fame football player, middle linebacker, guard. You jump in. You don't think about it. So the truth is, I don't really think about it. If I'm clear it's destiny, that's it. And I'll do it. I'll just jump in, and then I'll see what happens. I'll see the consequences later. But that's a way of living, because the whole idea is that how tuned are you into the divine will? And for me, that's key. So I'm meditating 1 hour twice a day, and we're doing prayer. We're doing a lot of things that help closer to the alignment. So when I say I just jump in, it's not out of the blue, but it's kind of knowing of the divine will and what that is for me in this moment or this year or this next 10 years or whatever. And so I don't calculate it. And that's maybe a wild way of doing it, but that is the truth.
You know what though? If we didn't showcase the wild ways of doing things, this would not be Outlier's Edge. It's not Outlier's Average or Outlier's Safe, right? this is it. And what I love about this here is that you both are creating a lot of space for us as Outliers, and I think that's one of the things that I look for in this space here, which is not like it has to be some specific way. It's actually like what I feel from both of you, that one is that you both are true to like your internal compass, and like if it says north, you both find a way to go north, like however it goes. You might jump in, like Dr. Axel, you might go and be like, all right, well, I wanted to go this way. That mountain turns out that pass is closed, so I'm going to go around it this time around. But I'm going to continue to stay in alignment with it. And I think that there's something there, Outliers, that I want to just make sure that we capture that for you, right, as well. Which is like, what's that thing that you just know to be true? That's the thing, that if you just allowed yourself to go through it, regardless of what the motivation is or whatever it is, what if you just didn't hold yourself back on it? And it might look like researching or whatever.
That's the point. Very good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say, yeah.
Yeah, no, let's go and stay in the flow, because y'all are calling something else out of me where I'm like, oh yeah, like for me, like I literally have to go live. Like I realize for me, I'm like part of the reason we're having a live conversation right now. It's like, oh, the more I think about it, the more I chat GPT at Dr. Axel, like, the way I go into AI around it, the less I'm learning and the less I'm actually experiencing. All right. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, I mean, one thing I can say, and this comes, I'm wondering, when you do all the Outlier shows, in the different variants that you're doing them, I have found I learn a lot from having conversations with other people. And it's not just learning in the kind of like classroom type of sense, but it's also triggering intrigue, so to speak, right? Where somebody says, I am doing this, and this is why I'm on your show, and I want to tell your audience about what I'm doing, and I'm being invited. So out of these conversations and out of these engagements comes this kind of curiosity to say, I wonder either, should I do this? Would I want to try this? I wonder how this actually goes. But I'm first to admit I'm different in that way, like Gabriel. Typically, it needs something of an expectation for me, right? It can be enough to say, I just want to try it for the experience, but it is oftentimes also, okay, I give like one quick example from my area of specialty. The main stuff that we do at Idea Wealth Grower, like we said in the introduction, is helping people to develop a passive income portfolio. And as far as the assets, we use real estate, meaning like houses and duplexes and stuff. But to me, I also feel an obligation to our clientele, to our clients, to say, well, we also want to have some diversification. So I did some research. Somebody told me something. There is a way where you can invest in a way that really pays great dividends, tax-free, and it isn't real estate, and it isn't crypto, and it isn't gold, and it's not really stocks either. So that kind of intrigued me, right? And then I did some research and I jumped in and I tried to find out. And for the aspect of saying, would I want to recommend or even introduce any of my clients to it, I always feel obligated that I have to try it myself. So I tried it myself, like at the beginning of the year, proving all the little steps that are part of the process. And so now this particular process brings in 1% of the investment per month, as a return. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's hard to find something like that, and in a, what I would say, pretty safe way. But I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about it or even like potentially recommending it if I hadn't tried it myself. Right. So the experience can have all kinds of different ways. And in this case, there was some research, some confirmation, some trying it, some running the numbers, all that kind of stuff to say, okay, there is a little thing, I'm sure Gabriel has experienced this too, where people in research say the best way to know if you really understood something is when you can teach others what you understood. And so that's kind of like the way I approach it. I'm not as, I guess, faithful, Gabriel, I would say, to just jump in. I kind of need a purpose, or need a kind of like an expectation or something connected to the activity. But when that's there, then, it can be fun. It can be very inspiring. And hopefully in most cases, it's also helpful for ultimately those I can engage with it.
Yeah, this makes me it makes me smile here. If y'all are watching this rather than listening, you'll see like I have a big grin on my face here. And one of the key things that I'm enjoying is like it's the element of like stepping into the experience. And both of you come from a place of like having the real experiences rather than sitting down and just thinking about it or trying to convince other people about it. Like you step into it, or Gabriel, you jump into it, right? But you give yourself the opportunity to have the experience. And so Outliers, like I'm going to ask you, like, where in your life right now are you still contemplating, and rather than finding a way to give yourself the experience? And even Dr. Axel, when you were talking about researching it, it felt like what I got was that the end goal is to have the experience. You're like, let me make sure that like you're putting yourself in a position where you're making an educated decision as you are going through the experience, right? There was some risk involved for you because given the work that you do, but like it wasn't just to learn. That was not the objective. The objective was to experience, so that then you can then go out and share from a place of like real proof and understanding. Let me just check in on that. I'm putting words in your mouth, so I want to make sure that that's accurate before I go on.
Yeah, there's some truth to it. I actually like the word mastery a lot, right? And so the question, even though it didn't start out that way, I don't want to pretend that when I was 8, 19 or 20, I would use that kind of language or I have those kind of thoughts. But ultimately, there was a goal to master flying something that basically covers something like 6 miles a minute, right? Which you can try it. It's kind of pretty wild. Next, I kind of wanted to find out, can I master the role of an executive in a company? And it's kind of interesting, since you brought it up that way, I would say, no, I didn't, at least not in the first iteration. I got into it, I tried it, I was in the role, I didn't like how they were doing it, I didn't like that I didn't have impact. So, not always is just because you try and just because you crawl in or jump in, depending it will lead necessarily to something that you expect. But the underlying thing, now that I've like decades and decades of experience behind me, is the motivation is mastery of something, right? And so that also means, interestingly enough, and I think it's true for most people in like your outlier audience as well, I experience a lot of people who underestimate their ability of different things that they can master. Like if you look at me, I mastered flying military jets. I believe, mastered to be a business owner. And I think based on my financial situation, I'm pretty good in developing an asset portfolio that sustains me and my family, right? And if you look at them, they're not directly connected. So I want to encourage people that listen to us to don't underestimate the different things that you can master if you apply yourself to it. Right.
Good. My approach is not blindly jumping into things. Honestly, I'm talking about going to Columbia Medical School, being a psychiatrist, being highly trained, but keeping the next step happening. That's important. So I love working with clients. I still see individual people. I see them initially for 2.5 hours to really assess what's going on, because that's meaningful to me, but it works. You can't see people in 15 minutes and figure out what's going on for them. So for me, I'm looking for the highest level of expression of what I'm doing. I'm not actually looking for mastery, but it does tend to take you in that direction, but not a goal. I enjoy working with clients, period. And then I keep doing that. But I do groups. I do work with families. We're doing our, social. I don't like to call it social work, but working with different communities. And then I work in different communities, as they say, Native American, and living in India for 7 years, and being a doctor in that context. And so kind of going into things that are meaningful to me. You can't never master, in the Sundance. You can't master going to India internationally. That doesn't work for me. But immersing myself in experience that's going to elevate me physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, that's what I'm interested in. Is this going to elevate my consciousness? And is this also going to be elevate the world? Is what I'm doing elevating humanity? That's kind of another part of that choice.
Yeah,
And I'll do what I have to do.
there's something really in here. Like I'm literally smiling here, and I can't help it. If y'all are watching this, it's just like I'm beaming. Because the two things. One, I feel like y'all. I feel like as you're listening to this conversation, it's hard to not like hear this and either lean forward in your seat or sit up a little bit straighter. And the reason here is like both of y'all just get at it. I don't know how else to say it here, but you create, you dive in, you learn. And Gabriel, you said you're like, I'm not doing it for the point of mastering, but like mastery might occur as a result because I'm seeking the
Right.
highest level of expression, you know? And then Dr. Axel, you're like, all these things that you're saying, Yama, like for me, my motivation actually is mastery. And like part of this is part of my mastery process. And part of both the reason I said this, the lean forward and straighter is that both of you have kept a high standard. And not like I want to bring our attention to the standard that they both choose to come in. Gabriel said, my highest level of expression. Dr. Axel said, mastery. Neither of you two are being like, I just want to kind of see what it's like. It's like there's a drive that's like I'm interested in knowing this at an elite level, at a high level. I just want to just like lean into that. It gets expressed very differently. Like I hear you, and it's like oh, I do it this way, and I do it this way. I'm like, but y'all are both playing like this, like the highest level that you can. And neither of you seem to be satisfied for anything less than excellence. And I think that like there are outliers. There's a I think there's something really lovely in that because it shows up and looks differently. Like you come at it from a different place, a different way of being, but it's like you're still going for like, the tops of the mountains. And so Outliers, I'm just asking you to like think about it for yourself. Like how would you categorize it? What would you describe it as? Like, and what's your like truest expression of the quest for excellence for you? I just brought this into the space here, Gabriel, Dr. Axel. Like, let me know like if what lines up for you, what lights you up on it, what I might have missed. Let's get your thoughts on this.
Well, one thing, if you don't mind me saying, is it is important to me to make it clear that when I say mastery, it's not a point or a goal. It's basically striving for continuous improvement, right? And I would take examples, like the most amazing painters, the most amazing musicians, the most amazing fill in the blanks. I don't think any would say, oh yeah, I turned 67 and a half and that was the point and now I had it and never needed to add anything and never got anything better. And no, that's not really the thing, right? The thing is the intention of continuous improvement. Yes, there are layers and we have words for it, but that's basically the joy for me lies in discovering something new all the time. When I first started getting into the real estate investing industry, there were times when I thought, I think I have it down pretty well. Just to come around the next corner, have another interview or find some other thing or some new way of financing something to say, oh, you didn't know what you didn't know. And so let's open the door again and journey on and find out. And that has never stopped. And I'm pretty convinced by now, I don't know, as a shaman, Gabriel can probably be a little close to saying, is there an endpoint? For me, I'm very convinced by now, there isn't really an endpoint. The aspect that I see, and that is maybe helpful to the audience, is to say, find the energy to be curious every day, right? And then the question is, okay, I think both Gabriel and I are examples that it isn't curiosity only for one thing in life. We both have done a bunch of things that are really, really different from each other. And I think the joy and the motivation and all these kind of words you can use is to find the energy to be curious, right? I would tell right now, I would say anybody, real estate industry will never stop to surprise me. There will always be somebody who comes up with something new when I thought I know maybe 90% of what's there to know. Right. So just to make sure, mastery is not meant as, there is a point that you need to reach and then you have it, you get a certificate and put it on the wall and that's it. Right. That's not how I meant it. It's more like the continuous curiosity.
That's well articulated. That's really good. For me, I honestly don't think about mastery. Obviously, what I do takes me there as a holistic physician and seeing people all over the world and doing community organizing and finding a cure for diabetes naturally. That's kind of an outcome. For me, what I'm doing, I need to feel alive. Now there's the inner aliveness I get from meditation and relationship, just feeling in love all the time is really good, really good thing. And that's another level of the inner experience. And then the outer experience, which is a little bit more what you're talking about, is, in the field of holistic medicine, in the field of projects that create community development and uplift community. Those are not seen as contributions, but seen as, this is just what I do. I'm drawn to this in that way. Obviously, to be able to do some things, you have to get to a certain level of function to do that. And, that's also what we're talking about. So, they go together.
Yeah, I'm feeling
that. If I may, I mean, one thing, Gabriel, that I think is a component of that is when we have the opportunity to engage with people, whether it's in a podcast or roundtable like we're doing right now, or we're doing a Zoom call, or we're meeting people, there is this component of energy transfer, energy interaction, right? And I feel like when I am full of energy and inquiry and discovery and trying to transfer what I already know and learn from other people, there is a reaction to that energy. You can, I mean, if you want to go a little woo-woo, you might go as far as saying there are like auras, and when they resonate in the right frequency and they come together close enough to actually recognize each other, something happens, something special happens. And for people who basically, and I don't want to put anybody down, but I know there are people, I've experienced them, that just go through the motions. And anybody with a little bit of a sensory apparatus detects that, you have a reaction to it, and you decide very quickly, subconsciously and consciously, whether you want to be in the presence of that or not. So for me, and I don't know if Gabriel, if you agree, but for me, having that energy that actually gets recognized by the audience or by the other people that I'm engaging is an important component. It's not just what you know, right? It's kind of like how you show up and how you are experienced.
I think that's well expressed. I agree. Really agree.
You all have been so fantastic. We're about to wrap up this conversation here. My spirit feels on fire here today. And I wanted to say thank you both for showing up in such a powerful way. Gabriel, you said like you follow something that made you feel alive. I have a peer that I was talking to yesterday, and she was like, she's like, I would love to play the game of more aliveness. And we were trying to define what that is. And so since you brought it into the conversation, I feel like there'll be an opportunity missed. I feel like the stars have aligned for this to show up here. When you talk about alive, without trying to be correct, but when you talk about like what it means for you, would you mind just like sharing a bit about like what aliveness means for you, and then we'll wrap up from there.
Interesting question. So I have a few levels of being alive. One is the whole meditation and spiritual life, because when you feel the truth of who you are, which is from my point of view, the experience of the divine within yourself, you're linking to the divine. And so being alive is being connected to that divine holy experience. It's just a way of being in the world. It's not like, oh, I go to church and it's this way. It's like, it's all the time. So that's the aliveness on the inner plane. The aliveness on the outer plane is really somehow having meaning and being turned on by what I'm doing. Like, this is fun, but it's more than that. It's meaningful, it's fun, it's fulfilling destiny. And for me, when I'm aligned with the divine will, because my will, the idea is align my will with the will of God, then you're in tune with your destiny. That creates an aliveness and a oneness with the divine and all of creation. So those are the different levels of feeling alive. Does that make sense what I'm saying here?
I think that it makes sense. I'm having a lot of like drop-ins, but I think that the thing for me is like I'm not trying to make sense out of this per se. I'm not trying to be like this is the intellectual like definition of it all. There's something about what you're saying that I feel like the spirit, the soul, your inner knowing, like there's a different part of you that really connects with it. And what I did get from that, the sensation I got was that the way that you just jumped into that, Gabriel, made me realize like this is concrete. It may not feel concrete, but it is concrete. You were able to just immediately go right into it. Yeah. And so like for that, I really feel like the gift of that answer there. Thank you for leaning into this here. I'm like, I don't think I'll be doing my friend a solid if I just let this one slide through. So what we'll do, we're gonna wrap up our conversations here for today. The way that we do this here is that we make sure that outliers know how they can go deeper down the journey with you. And then I'll ask you one more question afterwards. But if you wouldn't mind, we'll start with you, Dr. Axel, then we'll go to you, Gabriel. How can outliers go deeper down the journey if they want to into your world?
Well, for me, the easiest way is to go to our website, which is idealwealthgrower.com. And when you get to the site, at the top right-hand corner, there's a little button that says Discovery Call, which basically allows you to pick a time on my calendar and have a conversation. And I always find the first step for anything, at least in my world, is to get to know each other a little bit, right? And then maybe as a second step to see if there's any place, anything that we might want to explore together. But the first thing is get to know each other, see, to the extent that we can do this using Zoom or something like that, see if we can get this kind of resonance, this kind of vibration of energy that tells us, okay, we kind of, vibing on the right frequency, the younger generation would say. And then from there, you can do all kinds of stuff.
I love it. I love it. And Gabriel?
Well, I have a few entry points. People can go to drcousens.com and it takes you to my website, which is a little bit more complicated, treeoflife.mn.co. So it's easy to go drcousens.com, and that will take you to all the different things that we're doing. So that's one way of going about it. I also have programs, like tonight was Brazil Hour, and on Mondays I'm dealing with spiritual nutrition, questions and answers, and then Alive and Liberated with Dr. Gabriel. So I'm giving people liberation type focus and experience and training, and I'm also giving a more detailed, in-depth orthomolecular psychiatry and medicine type of and shamanic approaches to understand what's going on, and that goes on multiple levels according to the questions.
I love it.
So
I love it here.
I said people can, the simple is just go drcousens.com, and then there's all kinds of options.
And then Outliers, Cousens is spelled Cousens. Okay.
Correct.
All right. All right. So we're going to wrap up here. Thank you all for everything. The way I end every conversation is that, like, I said this before we got started, but I'm like, I'm very, very clear that the only reason to have a conversation is for it to be to have a potential to be a life-changing conversation. Otherwise, like, we can just listen to something or read something. So I want to just ask you all here, in which ways have this conversation been meaningful for you? What's an insight or a takeaway that you are leaving this conversation with for yourself? And like, we've been really good at being honest here. So like, don't make up anything. If it's not real for you, don't, you can just say like, I didn't really get any, but it was a good time. That's fine. But we'll do the reverse order this time. We'll go with the Gabriel first, and then Dr. Axel, and then we'll close for today.
Okay. Well, I appreciate Dr. Axel's work. In a lot of ways, I'm looking at land like more of a Native American approach, but it is really important. And then I've had a lot of real estate in terms of the Tree of Life of 450 acres and, big pieces of things. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the building part of how Dr. Axel works. It's really a nice training for people because they get a bigger approach. And I appreciate you because you're a great MC. You got a really good way of tying it all together. So I'm enjoying your style.
Thank you.
I listen, and I kind of take things in. So your style is really a fun style for me.
Thank you very much.
I don't know the audience, but I hope that you're able to see another kind of angle of how to live. Just another angle to add to your life. So in my work, I say, peace be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. O Mitakiwasan, which means in Native American, to all my relatives. And we are all relatives. I hope.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Gabriel. Dr. Axel, bring us home on this here. What's an insight you got, if anything?
Well, something that Dr. Gabriel said very much kind of like almost you really had to pay attention to it. And I hope a lot of the people in the audience did as I did. And that is, he said, I spent 2 or 2.5 hours to explore and get to know and find out what's going on or what's up with the person in front of me. And I'm kind of the same way, even though I might come across a little bit more from the logical place, but I think I was gladly reminded about the importance of holistic medicine. And I like to tie it to holistic as a term in the sense of the whole person. right? I mean, this, what we talked about in our conversation has a lot to do with energy. I can only wish for anybody listening to us that they have many opportunities to feel this energy, this kind of, some people call it flow state, but it also requires, in my opinion, at least as much as possible, a healthy body, right? And to have a healthy body, you have to look at it holistically. And so, Gabriel can probably help in all kinds of different ways. I'm trying to be as healthy as possible in what I eat, what I put in the body, and how I treat the body. And if you have that holistic aspect to include the physical and basically what topics you expose yourself to, that is, I think, a pretty good way to be on this journey, on this ball.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I'm 83 years around the planet, around the sun, and it's really good to feel alive all the time. And you don't do that by accident. You have to work. That's what you're saying, and I want to honor that because I think we're saying the same thing.
True. Yeah.
Y'all are fantastic here. Outliers, what an absolute treat. If there's someone in your world that needs to get that you feel will benefit from hearing this conversation, please go ahead and share it with them. And if you want to continue having conversations like this and meet some other awesome people who are continuing to up level themselves and choosing not to play small at any point, whether it's for mastery or for expression or for whatever it is that is true to them, you can come join us inside of the Outliers Ed School community at school.com/outlier. All right. Until the next time we talk, be